Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and now we will be moving towards game 2 of the semifinals. Astral Authority is sitting up one win over JeffHindla and his amazing friends, which is honestly a little bit surprising. These teams have been playing together a while. 4 of the members of JeffHindla and his amazing friends are still in the Pro League, but not on the same teams anymore. So I guess they were able to kind of take that pick, but as it stands right now, we get to move on and see what happens next.
Yeah, very. I think it probably took a couple people by surprise, but JeffHindla and his amazing friends dropping a game, like you mentioned, and I think that this really highlights exactly how important just having that team cohesion is. I mean, sure, you can have the best 5 players in the world. Not saying that Jeff and his amazing friends are comprised of the best 5 players in the world, but they're all up there. You know, they're all great players. Even Omega, who had stepped away for a little bit, looked perfectly fine in that game. So to see the Challenger Cup team Astral Authority come out and beat them, it really shows you how important that teamwork can be.
And I'll admit it shines bright to me just because I got to cast these guys for 7 weeks in a row for the Challengers Cup this year. And watching them kind of grow as a team throughout that. And obviously, they came into it with some more experience than they had previously. They played together in the spring split, but being able to see them grow even closer and kind of get that tight knit grouping that they really want has been especially good for me. And to see them succeed here is a big sign for them, especially moving forward. But as it stands right now, looking at the picks and the bans, Thoth taken off the board, I feel, is a direct shot right to MLC Stealth. He's good with snipes, and you were mentioning, earlier and even during the downtime that burst would have been much better for them, having the burst to deal with the healing. Thoth is the epitome of burst.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen the Reddit clip, right, of Stealth one-shotting 3 people with Thoth ult. I mean, that basically speaks for itself. You could definitely do a lot of burst. I love the Sylvanas ban from Jeff and his amazing friends. They're saying, all right, dude, that's enough of that. But the problem is they left open Nike, and while Nike wasn't the biggest impact as far as the amount of damage or the amount of control that she brought to the team fight, did you notice how fast all of Astral Authority were all the time? That's that Nike passive. Do you know how much damage they were doing? Even though they had the 2 Guardians, the 2 Warriors, and the Guardian, they were still doing a good amount of damage, and that's that percent damage buff that Nike's passive gives you. The things that Nike brings to the team aren't always going to show up on the stats or in just with your eyes in the game. You won't be able to see her getting these big damage numbers off, but it's the survivability, and it's that passive just provides so much to your team.
And we see a return pick with the Sobek, so I'm assuming that that's going to go to JeffHindla. Omega is known, like, he mainly plays those warriors in the solo lane, but he could bring out the Guardian. But JeffHindla had a lot of good fights and a lot of good talents really coming out from that Sobek. I expect to kind of see that once again. And Erlang Shen being picked up, this could really go, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, he could go pretty much wherever. He's more than likely a jungler just because he has kind of a assassin syndrome, the same way that Nemesis did. Like when she was early on released, she was more of an assassin than a warrior and eventually got changed into one. Erlang Shen, not quite as much, but still has that kind of feel.
Yeah, I think that both of these could be flex picks. I mean, like you mentioned, JeffHindla very, very comfortable on Sobek, one of his signature gods. But I wouldn't be surprised. We've also seen him play Erlang Shen in the support role. Wouldn't be surprised to see Omega take this Sobek into the solo lane just because of how good that is up against Nike. You have multiple options to knock up that Rend, that first ability that really clears the way for Nike. You've got multiple options to get her out of that and then rotate in the team fights and make an impact. Plus Erlang Shen in the support role. MLC Stealth's comfortable with that sort of setup. We saw Polar Bear Mike run it. That to me seems like it could work out. Or it could be, we're still waiting on the solo laner. It could be Erlang Shen in the jungle. You've got tons of options with the draft that Jeff and his amazing friends have gone for early on.
I really like that Jeff and his amazing friends have picked up Janus here going into it just before the next ban phase. So not able to take away from them. They're going to be able to come to this. And MLC, I mean, you were talking about burst. Janus has it. The unstable vortex can do tons of damage. He has his own setup with the portal. And I know for a fact MLC can snipe across the map. We've seen it tons of times over the years. Having this global ultimate and having the ability to portal his teammates wherever they need to go, I feel like that's a really big pickup for them.
I mean, he's the cannon. What else do you need to say? You said he's good with snipes, and you're absolutely right. He has that option. He has that potential to win a team fight right off the bat just by getting there and using that through space and time. Excited to see MLC Stealth on one of his signature gods here.
all across the board. Odin gets banned out, and we actually saw a pass ban come out from JeffHindla and his amazing friends. So they decided that they didn't have anything that they really wanted to go against. I know andinster for a long time in ranked, he most of the time doesn't ban anything because he wants to know what it's like to play against it. Unless something is completely out there, he likes to know, he wants that matchup. And knowing that this is the kind of team that grew with that mentality, they must be kind of feeling a little bit confident. They know that they have it, and they're thinking, okay, well, we've changed this about whatever we have going on. We have a Janus now instead of a new Wah. Should be able to do something.
Yeah, definitely showing some confidence, or the fact that they were just discussing what's a ban, they couldn't decide, and then you never get anything through. That can also happen. I've been on that side of the stage as well, so you never really know. But now at least on the pick screen, no more Anubis. Though I was told that that's just because there's no pass ban option, because why would you need one? Because most teams don't pass bans. But ROM ban here for Astral Authority. I like that. Taking that out of BaRraCCuDDa's hands. We saw him have one of, if not the best individual performance in one game I have ever seen against Noble Esports in their group stages. Just single-handedly carrying the game with ROM. No surprise to see that banned away. And I also like the Odin ban. I mean, Nike can get out of it, sure. Jingwei can get out of it with her ultimate, but Chang'e would really get abused by that Odin, and that's showing that they're still thinking that maybe the solo laner hasn't made their selection, because Odin is not an andinster god. Let's be clear with that. Odin is not an andinster god, but it could be played by Omega and it could be played by JeffHindla. So they're leaving open that option that one of these is going to the jungle, and it would really be Erlang going to the jungle and banning away that Odin. I like that decision.
Bellona getting picked up, and I'm going to assume, so while Erlang has that flexibility, Bellona mainly shines in the solo lane, and also Omega loves this god. He has played her countless times, and I think actually one of my favorite memories was at Super Regionals last year at the LAN. There's a point Omega is fighting, he's on Bellona, two people come to his lane, right? And Omega fights when there's two people. He doesn't care. He came out of that 2v1 with 2 kills and was screaming at the top of his lungs to have them come fight him, send more people over. This is kind of like the way I imagine him. He is embodied as the goddess of victory right here and the goddess of war. I have a strong feeling that Omega is going to be able to do a lot of work with this.
Yeah, this is definitely an Omega god, one that I think of. I think of two whenever I think of Omega in particular, and that's Bellona and Hercules. I just imagine getting spam taunted by both of those characters all the time, and then I'm like, okay, let's just kill this guy with a 4-man rotation, and then he like kills 2 of us, and then the rest of this team cleans up the other ones. Definitely, and you're right. Look, just going back to last year's Super Regionals, that was like Omega's prime. I don't think Omega had ever played better than during those Super Regionals. It was unfortunate the way that he and his team Eager did not make it to Worlds that year. But that was this is definitely a throwback to that time. Hopefully, it'll go a little bit better for them this time around. Didn't find that same success that they were looking for in Game 1 against Astral Authority.
On the other side, and this really relates to something I mentioned last game, we see Khepri locked in. Well, there's a Ymir right next to him. I feel like Khepri is kind of locked in. He is that support role. And knowing Rachetier, this is exactly something I expect from him. I mentioned it last game. He is much like JeffHindla. He's very supporty. He's very the kind of tanky support that he wants. He's going to help his teammates as much as possible. Having that revive online is going to allow at least one member to have a second life, a second chance. And with Mangoh more than likely going to be on this Nike again, that kind of creates some very problematic issues for JeffHindla here, just because knowing that, let's say Mangoh goes a little bit too deep. He comes back. Now you have a Nike that's able to come back into the fight. Things can go downhill very fast.
Very, very much so. Yeah. The Nike is basically unkillable, it feels like a lot of times. As long as she's got Sentinel of Zeus available to her, that 60% health shield at max level is just absolutely nuts. And again, another tanky composition drafted along with the Nike, kind of relying on that passive to provide that 8% bonus damage whenever all 3 goals are hit, which usually happens around the 20 to 24 minute mark. Unless it's a slow game, because you need 10 kills on your side in order to fulfill all three goals. But I like this idea. Astral Authority clearly thinking outside the box a little bit, using that Nike passive to its fullest, and drafting another one of these tanky bruiser lineups that relies on a little bit of sustain, though this one doesn't have nearly as much. Chang'e is not the same level of healer as a Sylvanas.
With that, we'll just have to see how it goes when we move into the game. Right now, Astral Authority are up 1. So if they win this one, they're set. They go through and they make it to the finals. And at this point, whichever team loses, top 4 places do get cash prizes. But it's not quite as much for 3rd and 4th as you would get in 1st and 2nd. So definitely fighting to go on forward. Astral Authority coming in with that advantage. We're going to see Ymir jungle, which I don't think I've seen outside of Europe in a long time.
Yeah, I like it though. It does well up against a lot of members here that cannot get over that wall. In fact, the only one who can get over it without an ultimate is going to be BaRraCCuDDa with the dive bomb. Everyone else is going to need an ultimate. MLC Stealth could use an adjacent wall, but portaling, you can't portal through Ymir wall, of course. So I like the selection, looking to pick people off in the jungle.
That's going to be a little bit more interesting to me because I think that one of the things and one of the issues, the reason that Ymir jungle isn't something that is so prominent that it just takes over, is the fact that a lot of assassins, they have really big gank potential. They can jump into the lane behind you. 4 members of Astral Authority are grouped up on the left-hand side, going for the red buff invade, and they're going to walk through. Although they want blood, fineokay is going to get the 3-man freeze.
Finds all 3, forces the purification out from MLC Stealth and the shell from JeffHindla, plus they get the red buff. Really, really nice freeze there by fineokay. That's the dream right there, is finding the 3-man freeze early on.
I feel like what we kind of saw was the fact, like, JeffHindla and his amazing friends, they backed off. I think they thought they just wanted the red buff. fineokay was not ready to drop that, though, and ultimately, I think he's showing, like, the point is Ymir doesn't have a leap. He doesn't have anything to really get him in the middle of the fight that he needs, but he's got the CC. You mentioned the wall earlier. The freeze, we just saw how potent it can be, that large cone, and all of his abilities with that passive, they slow down.
But yeah, the slows are going to be very, very potent with that. fineokay, Sheyka, and Rachetier not there in time to defend their blue buff, or the speed buff, but it's going to be Jeff and his amazing friends coming around the backside. fineokay in a lot of trouble. The double portal there from MLC Stealth. Sprint popped by fineokay. Doesn't matter. The body blocks are good. JeffHindla gets the first blood.
I like the fact that fineokay kind of recognized that he was in a position he couldn't really do anything to go forward with it. There wasn't much of a step for him to really get out of there. So he tried to fight, tried to get as much damage down as he could. Ultimately, though, it just kind of ended up coming out as a wash for him, and now his team is just slightly behind, although it's actually it's a little bit under 1,000 gold right now.
Just not, you just can't make that decision in that. I mean, you think about it, so you see that they're on your speed buff. They got the speed buff. Okay, now what are they going to do next? Our blue buff is down. Mangoh cleared that by himself because of the wrath that he picked up as his first relic. So where are they going to go? Sure, they can go to gremlins, but those are going to take them half a second to clear. If we're going to position ourselves on these right-hand mid-harpies, you're just asking for that to happen to you. Definitely a lapse of judgment there from Astral Authority. No possible way that works out well for them.
All across the board right now, though, it's very apparent that teams are playing a little bit more safe, although andinster coming up behind FaymousHate and Rachetier, going to get the pin down. Rachetier taking a little bit of damage, and a nice ricochet from BaRraCCuDDa actually going to cause more of his health to fall, and he goes down. I didn't expect that to come back.
The double bounce was beautiful. Now JeffHindla is here looking for FaymousHate, who does have agility available, but still decides to use purification. I guess was worried about that pin, because usually Sobek into Jingwei is really not that scary of a matchup, which is the only time where Sobek isn't scary in lane, because if you get plucked, if you get hit by tail whip, you can just immediately use agility and go really far away from him, and you're not really worried about it. But FaymousHate still wasn't worried, was still worried despite that, decides to use the purification. A lot of action early on here yet again between these two teams. This is not your your European farm until 17 minutes, get 2 kills, then like start to try and win the game from there. This is definitely a different style here we're seeing today.
Over at the Fire Elementals, we actually got to see some more like that. fineokay came over, walled off, and froze Omega, specifically so he could take the Fire Elementals, as now he's going to go down. Omega, low mana, not necessarily low health, and a nice double stun with the Wrath.
That was beautiful. That was really, really cool. Just knowing that the freeze was going to come out, knowing exactly how much time he had until that was off cooldown from those Fire Elementals, like you were mentioning. Through space and time, fired off just in case Omega hadn't gotten it off. But really, really nice play from a guy you'd expect to be a little bit rusty, but hasn't really looked it so far today.
MLC did throw out the through space and time at the last of that engagement. I feel like they wanted to make the rotation over, like they thought Omega wanted to fight, but with that stun, I think everyone kind of recognized they wanted to go back, as Sheyka going to get plucked into the backline. Andinster chasing him down, but not going to get portaled. Sheyka using that immunity perfectly. He's taking a ton of damage, though. Khepri ult thrown out, and that's going to be enough to deter JeffHindla. He's just going to turn his sights back towards Mangoh.
Mangoh did jump in, and you can see just how much damage that empowered Rend can do. But now he's portaled, gets hit by the pin as well, but Sentinel of Zeus still went off. JeffHindla trying to help out MLC Stealth, but I don't think he can do enough. He can't. Mangoh gets the kill, and now Jeff's in trouble. Doesn't have Shell, doesn't have Pluck for another 5 seconds. He's going to fall. Omega now jumping in. One by one they go. Andinster is still doing his speed buff. Omega is going to survive, and Sheyka will as well. Thanks to that shell from Rachetier, you can see just how impactful that defensive relic is going to be. Really, really strong.
And walking out with a little bit of health left. Omega hit a huge ult there, but you can almost hear the fact that his team was just like, look, we don't have enough to fight this. There are 4 of them. Even if we go in with the 2 of us, even though some of them are low, they have enough CC that they can take us down. I like just the knowledge, knowing, okay, we don't want to aggress into this. If we aggress into this, we fall further behind. And this team recognized, like, they know how to play from behind, but being able to keep yourself in the lead where they are right now, even though it's kind of been dwindled down, they're a little bit more comfortable with this.
Very, very much so. And you can see the tank composition really paying dividends already for Astral Authority. There was a lot of damage pumped out in that fight, but not enough to secure any kills. Omega looking for the blue buff of Mangoh, has Wrath. This is basically guaranteed for him, despite the knock-up for Mangoh. Not going to really matter. On the left-hand side, BaRra and Jeff secure the boars. BaRra jumping aggressively into FaymousHate, who does have that purification up this time and is willing to box, but BaRra gets the better of him there. But thanks to that rapid reincarnation, doesn't really matter too much. Meanwhile, JeffHindla can't quite seal away that blue buff, but he's through space and time is good. Rachetier gets Scarab's blessing off. That's going to keep him alive.
And we see Sheyka going out, getting a 2-man stun. MLC going to get bursted down. fineokay detonating that one and finding him with shards of ice. JeffHindla looking for anything to help his team control it. fineokay now standing in a position where his abilities are coming back online. He throws out the carpet, but he's still going to fall down as the Suns and Andinster are just too strong for them. The BaRraCCuDDa's low. Mangoh is here, and he is a Sentinel of Zeus ready to fight.
Nowhere to go. Mangoh definitely making more of an impact this time around as far as the stats go. 3-0. He's got 3 of Astral Authority's 4 kills. And if taking a look at the player damage, he's right there, second on the list, right behind BaRraCCuDDa, who's been playing aggressive all game. But that fight turns around thanks to the ultimate from Rachetier onto himself, keeping himself alive despite the amount of pressure that Jeff and his amazing friends was putting onto him. And fineokay, that wall coming up big there. MLC Stealth had used the portal, wasn't able to get out, and then just takes that entire charged shards of ice right to the dome, able to pick him up as well. That slippery Janus takes his 2nd death of the game already.
All across the board, I like the fact that Astral Authority, they're still behind a little bit because right now Jeff and his amazing friends are just farming very, very well. They're splitting the experience just the way they need to in order to keep themselves ahead. But Astral Authority isn't kind of snoozing on it. They're not sitting back on the fact that they've been able to take engagements, that they've been coming out on top so far. They're still pushing wherever they can. They find themselves a spot to get mid camps, so they go for the mid camps. Right now, they're looking for a spot to get BaRraCCuDDa, but they can't. Unfortunately for them, he's going to back away. And I'm kind of surprised. I think JeffHindla and his amazing friends are being a little bit more passive. I think they've kind of learned that the aggression isn't quite what they need here.
Not quite yet, but aggression on the right-hand side. Through space and time, Omega using Eagle's Rally as well. Mangoh doesn't have that ult for another 10 seconds, but if he can survive long enough to get that off, there's no way Jeff and his amazing friends will have enough burst damage, and he will survive long enough. So this opens up the Gold Fury, though. BaRraCCuDDa, the only one left on this left-hand side. Going to try and contest it. Zones out the freeze, but good spacing there. Sun's coming down, but the Shards of Ice, enough to confirm it. All 3 ultimates used. FaymousHate's going to pay for it with his life, but the Gold Fury goes the way of Astral Authority.
fineokay next to get caught out. Pin coming down. Andinster chasing him down. Uses the Mink form and the taunt to go through this. And it looks like it should be the kill. BaRraCCuDDa going to pick that one up with the ricochet. Sheyka gets thrown back in. And as a Chang'e, there's only so much he can do. But Rachetier making sure he can save his mid laner as best he can, throwing out the Scarab's Blessing.
Rachetier has looked so good this whole set. Omega gets the solo kill, though, onto Mangoh on the left-hand side. That I did not expect that. Mangoh falls, and where he was doing so well in the early stages of the game, that time just probably bit off a little bit more than he was ready for.
Rachetier, you mentioned it, like he's showing the fact that he's a very good support player. If there were something akin to like Marvel's montages with Rom, it would be Rachetier with those Khepri Scarab's Blessing. I can't count the amount of times I've seen this guy throw it out at like the literal last second. One more hit, that person is dead, and right as they should be dying, he gets the Scarab's Blessing, revives them, they come back to him, and it turns the tide of a fight. When something like that happens, they've dumped so much into one character, and now that character is not only alive, but all of your cooldowns are up. You have to completely change your adaptation. Like, you have to rethink the entire fight.
Yeah, his Khepri has been absolutely phenomenal, and he's been farming significantly better than JeffHindla has, but JeffHindla farms poorly by choice. And I mean that sort of jokingly, but sort of not. I mean, you'll see him pass up waves in the mid lane to make sure that his mid laner is staying ahead, pass up waves in solo, duo, wherever, not farm back camps, whatever it takes to make sure his team is doing as well as possible. Ultimate's traded out on the left-hand side, but the rotation is coming for BaRraCCuDDa. FaymousHate dashing in aggressively. Barra recognizes that he's got through space and time, so the rest of his team is on the way as well. Wall from fineokay, freeze, gonna be leaped over. Rachetier, the focus, does have that Scarab's Blessing available to him, but the shell is good enough to keep him alive for now.
A nice two-man stun coming out from Sheyka, gonna catch MLC Stealth off in the backline, but Rachetier's still the main focus. He's getting low, but not enough that he needs to ult away. Ultimately, Jeff and his amazing friends are gonna back away from that Astral Authority, kind of playing that very securely, using their defense really. Rachetier took the brunt of the damage, but being able to save out of that, knowing like FaymousHate backed away from the fight, fineokay kind of came back to help CC and help control what is going on. All in all, it was just kind of smart play from both teams.
Omega, yeah, I like the play there, and I like the play from Omega, getting that proxy going on this right-hand side, and now he's made the rotation. JeffHindla finds the pluck on a fineokay, may have sacrificed himself for the cause. He definitely did. Sheyka finds the kill, but the perfect revive from Rachetier. Are you kidding me? No one's dying. That's insane.
That is what he is good at. He is perfect with this Khepri, and that's why I think the Khepri is the perfect personification for him. Right there is an example. fineokay was dead to rights, and now they might be able to. They're still going to lose this tier 1 tower, but they might be able to get a return kill onto andinster for it.
Yeah, Andy completely out of mana. Abduct, but Purification's up, so he should be okay. Maybe not. The perfect Solar Flare going to keep him in place thanks to the root, but Omega is here. He's saying rally here right on top of Rachetier. Mangoh doesn't want to let andinster go. Through space and time fire to get MLC Stealth and JeffHindla in position to help their amazing friends, but it's going to be Astral Authority getting an ultimate and a teleport and a Purification out from andinster there.
It's a lot being used just to kind of get away and get out as much as they can. And all across the board, this game is dead even. There's still about 1,000 gold separating the teams. There's about 2,000 experience in favor of Jeff and his amazing friends. The only gold fury that's been taken is in favor of Astral Authority. Another one will come up in a minute. They have a chance to kind of prove themselves. This is much like the last one. They might be able to just kind of sneak it, take it away. But I mean, as it stands, like 1,000 gold, 2,000 experience isn't really a lot at this stage in the game. And with the amount these teams are fighting, as Sheyka gets taunted away, like that's just showing they want to fight. They know where the lead is going to be, and they have to win this purely off taking out the other team.
JeffHindla trying to get something going in the middle lane. Portal onto Rachetier, but with the even with the rotation for BaRraCCuDDa, the fact that Omega is in base and Nike was on the way was very important. But Omega has made the teleport. He's here in the middle lane. I think that that Astral Authority knows, though. You could hear the pings coming out from them.
Everyone going to kind of back away here. Speed buffs being taken down all across the board. Gold Fury in about 15 seconds, and it seems like Astral Authority know exactly where they need to be. They're going to be getting the wards up, getting the vision around it to make sure that it can't be taken away. But this kind of movement gets telegraphed across the map, especially with the amount of wards that Jeff and his amazing friends have. So they know that it's more than likely coming up soon. I can't remember if they saw the timer on it the last time it went down, but they should now see it on the map.
BaRraCCuDDa was there. BaRraCCuDDa was there, so they do have that timer. Barra did look like he wanted to back there, and andinster wants to back as well. JeffHindla just backing up, trying not to get walled off by fineokay in the jungle. These are the team fights that Astral Authority want to take in the jungle, where they're grouped up. Those walls are going to be impactful, and the Chang'e damage is going to be impactful. There's the wall that's going to be impactful. BaRraCCuDDa nowhere to go, gets both relics there. Sheyka doesn't want to let it go. He's going to use the ultimate on him by himself through space and time, gets the rest of the team back into the action. Sheyka in a ton of trouble. He's going to need to rely on Rachetier here, I think.
Shell gets used. We see Rachetier use that Scarab's Blessing. He's coming through. The heals are still good. He does have his immunity, and it looks like Sheyka should be able to get out of this one. MLC now being caught down. fineokay and Rachetier doing their best. fineokay going to get the burst down, and the portal will be good enough to save him out there. And now Omega is here, and Omega wants to fight.
So close. Sheyka finally going to fall, I think. No, the freeze interrupts the taunt. Sheyka has got nowhere to go, though. Eagles rally over the top. Finally, someone dies. Scarab's Blessing not able to save him twice in one life. Rachetier falls as well, thanks to lurking in the water. Sentinel of Zeus uses zone control very nicely by Mangoh. But the problem is that there's a million people there waiting for him. 3-man Rastan keeps him alive for the moment, but dive bomb over the wall. BaRra, Omega, andinster, none of them want to let this solo laner go. Omega picks up the kill yet again. 3 for 0 in favor of Astral Authority. Finally, there's enough damage on the side of Jeff and his amazing friends to make stuff happen. And yes, chat, that was a Blink Janus that you just saw.
Not only that, but just the amount of damage Unstable Vortex did. That forced FaymousHate out of there. Now, with the passive Jing has, he can easily fly back in. There's no way he's going to get there in time to even do anything about this Cold Fury. That's dead to rights. Jeff and his amazing friends find themselves even further in the lead. The tier 1 in mid is looking pretty much dead, so that's even a little bit more gold that can really be counted towards them here. And that was just the kind of teamfight you expect to see from these players.
Now is the first commanding lead that Jeff and his amazing friends have gotten in between this game and the last one. Setting up 3,500 gold, 6,000 experience is very important at this stage. I mean, just going down the list, look at the level disparities. You've got 2 levels in the solo lane for Omega. You've got a level in the jungle for andinster, 2 in the mid lane, even in the support role, and then 1 for BaRraCCuDDa in the hunter role as well. So that experience difference really going to pay big dividends, especially because, remember, Nike needs 2 members of her team to hit level 20 to finish off those 3 goals. That's one of them, and it's usually the one that takes the longest. But Astral Authority only halfway there as far as the 10 kills you need, and then they need 2 people to hit level 20 as well. So the longer that Jeff and his amazing friends can starve the experience away from Astral Authority, the better.
Right now, though, Astral Authority are in, I want to say, kind of a favorable position, even though they're down in this game with that 1-0 lead, since it's a best of 3. If they lose this game, there's not as much to lose as if JeffHindla and his amazing friends lose this game. So really, it's like the best of the worst case scenario. If they lose it, they still have an opportunity to come back in the next game. But right now, looking through it, they're still fighting for their life. They know that they have a better chance if they can win this one of going into the finals instead. And Rachetier going for a pull right now. It's just kind of a hogwash going through. Everyone trying to fight, but no real cohesion.
Oh, the wall from fineokay blocks the charge prey from JeffHindla, but the poke from Nike on MLC Stealth was so impactful that this is going to be Jeff and his amazing friends on the retreat. MLC Stealth, that's not a wall that you can go through, my friend. fineokay going to be able to pick up the mid laner. Wrong wall, dude, wrong wall.
Now JeffHindla taking a lot of damage. Jing not going to connect with anyone. FaymousHate really going to be focusing on using his autos. A nice freeze purification going to be used from andinster because he's going to get stunned out there. He does have his ult sticking. No, actually it didn't go through because of that freeze. And now the sun's being dropped down. BaRraCCuDDa under wraps, but I think the stuns were enough to deter this. Another freeze once again. fineokay doing his best to come through and get anything. But I feel like right now andinster, BaRraCCuDDa, JeffHindla, they're just too much. Mangoh going to get revived.
Nice revive again from Rachetier. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Omega was able to make it out with 1 HP, and that's so impactful because of what you're seeing right now. The teleport, he's back in the fight. He's full health, but the wall from fineokay is better. Gonna block off the bludgeon. fineokay hasn't been there with the freezes necessarily, but the walls, those have been on point.
The few reasons that fineokay being able to take this Ymir into the jungle is great is because, like you had mentioned earlier, and like we've seen several times, he can change the map to their advantage, and that was another case of it. There's a really tight quarter, he just throws the walls up, save himself, and we've seen that work aggressively, defensively, and so far he has been spot on every single time throwing those out. And I can't think, any other jungler, there's some other junglers like Thor using stuns and others that could kind of do that same thing. But right now, Ymir has been playing such a large benefit to their team comp.
Very, very much so. I'd absolutely agree with that. You can see the cooldown that he's going for. He's got the Breastplate of Valor. He's got the cooldown boots. He's just trying to throw out as many walls and as many freezes as possible. He's not worried about his player damage numbers. He's 4th on the team, but he doesn't care. He cares about blocking off the players and getting them locked in place for his team to do the damage, specifically FaymousHate. A lot of this game rides on FaymousHate's abilities to do the amount of damage necessary to win the game Right now, he's sitting third on his team, but he's 0-1-1. But we're starting to get to that point. And once he finishes his 4th item, I'm assuming this is going to be an Executioner. That's what he went for last time, though we could see a Chinsai out of him. That's when it's going to be up to him to really make the big impact.
And that's when we're going to start seeing things like JeffHindla, we're going to see Omega. Those two, they're going to start taking a lot more damage throughout these team fights, especially if he goes for, I mean, honestly, either of those, Executioner or Chinsai, will really allow him to kind of eat through that back line, give him just a little bit extra to eat through the protections. Is fineokay going to get the freeze down? Andinster taking a ton of damage using the Sanctuary to get out, but he gets pulled right back in. Rachetier going to just pull him into the death of fineokay, picking that one up.
Now Mangoh chasing down JeffHindla in the mid lane there, but that was just good recognition that the Purification was still on cooldown from andinster. Sanctuary didn't buy him enough time and just not tanky enough in the jungle. Yeah, he's a warrior, but no physical protection to help him. Even without that 4th item, FaymousHate was shredding him after that freeze.
So something I've noticed, and I was looking, because I'm looking through the ADC builds we've been mentioning on Offhandedly Real. Both games, BaRraCCuDDa has picked up Odysseus's bow, which isn't necessarily something that gets seen down as the Suns are coming crashing down. 4 members of Astral Authority are in the brunt of that, but they are all staying high health. Sheyka is just healing them up, and we are seeing the damage that is being dealt to JeffHindla and his amazing friends because of it.
Mangoh extremely low, but Rachetier saves his life yet again. Stealth, Omega, neither of them want to let this go. The Blink, Ice Carpet, gonna lock down MLC Stealth with the big damage coming out of FaymousHate. I think he crit him there with the explosive bolts. The MLC Stealth just a little bit too tunnel vision on that kill on a Mangoh.
And right now it's looking like Sheyka and FaymousHate are trying to push down and get the tier 2. That's going to be a big chunk of gold in their lead, or in their favor, to take out the lead. So far, Jeff and his amazing friends have been able to hold on to. andinster being the one that they want to take out next. fineokay going into his ult, going to burst him down there. And now Omega, while he's low, he's turning around, and there are a lot of targets for him.
Oh, the bludgeon not going to find the mark thanks to the leap there from Mangoh. FaymousHate in a bad spot, but does have that Sanctuary, as well as that % damage mitigation thanks to Rising Dawn on the Khepri. Chase is still on from JeffHindla and BaRraCCuDDa, but it's 4 fairly healthy members of Astral Authority that are here to contest. Omega uses the teleport, but nothing doing for it. Nike just baiting in the team. It's been JeffHindla and his amazing friends. They've had some good fights, but overall, their target calling has been a little bit wonky, I feel like, and you could definitely attribute that to the lack of playing time together in the last, year plus. That's really what it comes down to.
And when you just switch over to the grass, you can kind of see the story of that last fight as well. You watch as JeffHindla and his amazing friends, they take that lead. You can see the gold fury. It's the straight dive down. And they just slowly but surely kept amassing gold. They kept amassing experience. But that last fight is almost a direct divot, just straight up line to go back and bring this back down. It's now 1,000 gold difference really between the two teams, which experience at this point, it's still counting because there aren't any level 20s. So that's still an exact experience difference between the two of them. But that gold difference really means nothing.
No, not at this stage, that's for sure. And remember, you got to keep your eye on the number of kills. Astral Authority is about to get a big boon from Nike passive, and then whenever they get a couple level 20s, they only need 2. FaymousHate very, very close. A couple level 16s in Mangoh and fineokay in the jungle. They only need one of those 2 to hit level 20 around the same time as FaymousHate, and then they're going to have that fully stacked Nike passive, which is just so impactful.
All across the board right now, a lot of healing being done from Sheyka, and I think that's kind of helping Astral Authority maintain these fights and turn it around. But like you had said, another thing that's going in their favor is that JeffHindla and his amazing friends seem to have a little bit of wonky target positioning, and right now JeffHindla getting just chunked down immediately. Through space and time does come out, and it's going to be what saves andinster's life as he's going out the back line. Sheyka going to be the first to fall, and that's a big pickup.
1 for 1 right now at Scarab's Blessing and Airstrike used to try and get out, but Rachetier is now the one in trouble. But the Sentinel of Zeus does the great job of zoning. Mangoh has been so impactful in these team fights. Omega is able to find FaymousHate. BaRraCCuDDa now looking at Mangoh, and look how much damage Bear is doing, despite the tanky build that Mangoh has gone for. Huyi in the late game, still gonna shred you. They're not done yet. They're looking at fineokay. Barra finds him as well. Tried to fire off the ricochet, trying to do the math in his head. Didn't have quite enough time to do those calculations, but I calculate a 3v1 in favor of Jeff and his amazing friends, and a Gold Fury gonna swing this lead back to where it was previously. Oh no, Mangoh's teleported in. I don't know if they can do this.
Mangoh does have the Wrath up, but so does Omega, so this should go in favor of BaRraCCuDDa, and Omega still pushing it down, and Mangoh getting zoned away. He's going to jump over the wall. He's going for Astral Authority, stole it away, and now Omega is mad.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Eagles rally. You got to kill him for that. You can't let him get away with murder. But Gold Fury goes away of Astral Authority, and that is so important at this stage. That evens up the game even more than it already was. I mean, it was already basically even, but now it's 500 gold. And that could have been 3,000 gold in Jeff and his amazing friend's favor, a 3K gold swing basically in favor of Astral Authority. Mangoh has shown up to play without a doubt. He started off 3-0. He's now 3-3, so he's taken 3 consecutive deaths, but his play has been very, very strong so far this game.
BaRraCCuDDa's been making a huge impact. I mean, right now he's sitting at 6-1-3. And one of the things that, you know, you were mentioning it in that last fight, you were talking about how much damage he was just eating through fineokay, eating through Rachetier, eating through Mangoh, who are all these really tanky characters. He actually went for the Titan's Bane before that happened, and now fineokay finding himself in a relatively bad position. Fire Giant was baited. He gets chucked back, and he's just going to go right into the ultimate, get as much burst down as he can. MLC sitting about, and the four-man ult from Sheyka going to get the stuns out. MLC still feeling the pain of that one. fineokay going to get saved by Rachetier, and right now this fight could go either way.
BaRra getting frozen, taking 2/3 of his HP for his troubles. Unbelievable ult there. 2 ults really turned that entire fight around. Then it's Sheyka's ult, and it's fineokay, also Rachetier as well. Abduct onto JeffHindla rather. Pretty tanky. BaRra getting very low, but not enough cooldowns from fineokay. The stun interrupts the ice carpet. Wall gonna keep him alive for now. The heal from Sheyka, just enough, and now BaRra nowhere to run, my friend. Chang'e picks up her 3rd kill of the engagement. Such a long, or 3rd kill of the game rather. Such a long fight, but the healing and the resurrection and the tankiness of Astral Authority's composition again shining through. It's what allows them to take these fights.
Another example of really good calls that I'm appreciating is Astral Authority right here, pushing down the lane instead of going for the Fire Giant. With JeffHindla and his amazing friends, they all backed off. They had that opportunity, but ultimately you can't win the game unless you break into that base, and taking down those towers is going to give them the gold lead and now gives them a map advantage. They have control of this part of the jungle that they can now use to control this Fire Giant.
Keep an eye on MLC Stealth right now. He has through space and time. Full commit onto the Fire Giant. Omega gets knocked up. Can't use the Wrath. Astral Authority gets the Fire Giant, and now Omega very low. FaymousHate going to be able to pick him up. MLC Stealth exiting via portal north as andinster uses them to go south. 1 for 0, but 5 members have Fire Giant. That knock up there is what saved the Fire Giant potentially from getting stolen away from Omega.
They've got the regen from the Fire Giant buff. They've got Sheyka to heal them up. Their mana pools are looking good. JeffHindla looking like he should fall here in a little bit. He's going to be able to make it back to his base because Astral Authority want the Phoenix. They know that that's going to be their best bet. And honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised to see them go towards the mid lane instead of push any further. They take out MLC Stealth, and that's a huge chunk of burst that's off the board.
They have to make a decision quickly, though, because Omega's up in 15 seconds. The decision is to back, and I like it, because if you take a look at Golden Hand, almost everyone has over 2,000 gold, only fineokay under that 2K mark to spend, and they're going to be able to finish off some very important items. You'll see Wind Demon completed for FaymousHate. You'll see that Runic Shield, or whatever, excuse me, that's a Void Shield, going to be completed for Mangoh as well whenever he backs. So really, really good decision there to back, spend that gold, and then you're going to be able to make what could be the final push. I mean, you've got 5 members with Fire Giant right now. I'd like to see Astral Authority push down this left-hand side, get down these last 2 towers. Remember, the Titan is tankier. The amount is directly tankier based on the number of structures that are left for Authority to end the game. They can knock these down, knock down that left-hand Phoenix as well, potentially. Astral Authority is in a position to win this game.
Which, I mean, last game we saw them, they came out, they showed really well and showed off really strongly how well they play together. And while we have a bunch of pro players on the other side, you can't overestimate the fact that JeffHindla is just going to get erased off the board, but you can't underestimate a team just because they're not in the Pro League. And Astral Authority showing that their time together has been very beneficial. They're looking very strong. They're already up 1-0, and they're looking to make this a 2-0 just clean sweep.
I mean, and keep in mind, Nike passive isn't even full yet. You still need 1 more level 20 to get the full benefit. And I think I'm a huge believer in that passive. I think it provides so much to your team. And even though Omega really gave Mangoh the hands in lane, was able to solo him even, just the Nike pick in general does so much for you. Through space of time, he's gonna hit 2 on the left-hand Phoenix, and then andinster comes in with the taunt, but Andy getting so low, heal from the blessing does get off, but who cares? FaymousHate gonna be able to pick him up. He's going deep into the Titan room, but has the healing from Sheyka, has the healing from the HP5, from the Fire Giant as well. Only one Phoenix left standing for Jeff and his amazing friends.
And they're trying their best to defend it right here. We see Scarab's Blessing come down onto Rachetier himself. He's the one who needs to stay alive in this. He's the front line, but Mangoh leading the way for his team. Sentinel of Zeus going to come through, and that shield is very, very potent as it allows his team to turn around. They get the kill onto Omega, and right now Mango's still feeling the effects. They're going to be able to get this mid Phoenix, and that is going to be a 3 Phoenix wipe. MLC going to fall. Omega has fallen, and andinster is still dead from earlier on. This is a clean push into the Titan with the Fire Minions.
Wow. Unbelievable. The COG Prime, the reunion tour is cut short by the Challenger Cup team, Astral Authority, taking the 2-0 lead in the series, a 2-0 victory. They're your team going to the finals. Jeff and his amazing friends, they're playing for 3rd place.
COG Prime no longer in their prime. Astral Authority, I mean, 2nd place Challengers Cup, but they have shown tons of improvement. I saw them last a couple months ago. You saw them in the finals. They were a strong team then, and it seems like they have done nothing but work as hard as they can to get to the point where they are now. That was a very, very decisive 2-0 for them.
Really, really impressive. Jeff and his amazing friends looked like they were in the driver's seat there, but for me, that entire game revolves around Rachetier and his phenomenal Khepri play. Just pick after pick was nullified because of Scarab's Blessing. He came up so big. How many people did he revive that game? 4, 5? And that's just revives. How many people did he save with the Scarab's Blessing ultimate, just dissuading them from killing them? Really, really solid play from them. I mean, taking a look at the damage numbers, BaRraCCuDDa went off. I mean, my man did 42,000 damage, but it just wasn't enough. It was that Odysseus bow came in big. I loved the pickup. You wanted to bring it up. You brought it up. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. I loved that purchase because it was right as the team fight stage was starting. He knew that the team fighting was about to start. That Echeval's better in boxing scenarios than it is in team fight scenarios. You could see the amount of damage he put in. Just MLC stealth going 0-6 on one of his signature gods. Andinster not putting out the usual damage numbers that you'd expect out of him either on this warrior. And again, it was just the healing from Sheyka was solid, 12,000. Mangoh with the passive doesn't have to do anything for that, just kind of hangs out in the game and is able to do it. But for me, the walls from fineokay and the ults from Rachetier were really the turning point for Astral Authority.
And with that, I mean, Astral Authority now have found themselves a spot in the finals to fight for a bigger chunk of the cash prize for today. And I think, Aggro, I think that's going to be it for you. Do you have anything that you want to say, or do you want to just take the floor?
No, I mean, yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much. I had a great time over the last 2 games, 2 days rather, and these 2 games. They were really solid. Thanks to Eager for putting on this tournament, and go buy gems. Yeah, go buy gems. They pay my salary.
Like you had said, thank you to Eager. Thank you for coming out. It's actually been really nice having you in FDOT yesterday, having you come back in again today, just to kind of cast these games, to give our tournament just a little bit more flair to it. And like you had said, thank you to Eager for hosting it. Thank you to hi-rez for allowing us to have this, to giving us like the prizing that we need to be able to run this thing. And ultimately, I mean, it's going to be great going into the finals. I'm excited. I'm sure you're just excited.
Yeah, very, very excited. It's going to be awesome. I mean, can Astral Authority, the new kids on the block, be the ones that take it? We'll have to wait and see.